away from her dreary life. Timidly, she approached her stepmother. "Mother," she began, her voice barely. "May I also attend the festival?" Her stepmother and stepsister stared at her as if she had grown a second head, and burst into laughter. "You?" Her step scoffed. "In what? You would bring our family. Your place is here," scrubbing the floors and tending the fire. Zola and Kenna chimed in. "The prince would faint at the sight of you. Stay where you belong. Little ash girl." Defeated, Amara retreated to her garden, tears streaming down her dusty cheeks. She felt a profound sadness, alone seep into her very bones. As she wept, a gentle voice told her, "My child, why do you cry?" Amara looked up to see an old woman with kind eyes, her face etched with the wisdom of she was the village elder, a woman said to possess ancient magic. Amara poured out her heart, telling the old woman about her cruel family and her shattered dream. The elder listened patiently, then smiled. "Tears will not get you to the festival, little one, but courage and a kind heart might." She handed Amara a single, small, cowrie shell. "Plant this in your garden," she instructed. "Water it with the water from the ancient baobab tree. Believe in magic of your own spirit." Though confused, Amara did as she was told. She planted the shell, fetched water from the distant baobab, and whispered her hopes into the soil. The next morning, where the shell had been planted, stood a magnificent gown. It was woven from moonbeams and starlight, shimmering with all the colors of the dawn. Beside sand made of pure gold and a necklace of dewdrops that glowed like diamonds. On the night of the festival, as her step-family left the finery, Amara bathed in the nearby stream, dressed in the magments, and made her way to the palace. When she entered the grand hall, a hush fell over the crowd. No one recognized the stunning maiden. Her beauty it outshone silks in the room. Prince Aid, who had been politely greeting guests, stopped in his tracks, eyes locked with them. And he was captivated. He walked directly to her, bypassing all other men, including a few, Zola and Kenna. "Never seen such grace," he said, his voice filled with awe. "Made this sense." Shy, but filled with a newfound confidence, nodded. Danced the night away, and it felt as if they were the only two people in the world. They talked and laughed, and the prince was charmed, not just by her beauty, but by her wit, her kindness, and the gentle strength in her eye. As the first light approached, Amara knew she had to leave before her stepfamily returned. "I must go," she was pulling away. In her haste, one sandal slipped off her foot. The prince picked it up, but she was already gone, disappearing into the night like a dream. The next day, the prince was distraught. He was determined to find the mysterious maiden who had stolen his heart. He issued a royal decree. He would marry the girl whose foot fit the golden sandal. He and his royal guards traveled from village to village, house to house. When they arrived at Amara's compound, Zola and Kenna nearly trampled each other to be the first to try on the sandal. Zola squeezed and pushed, but her foot was too wide. Kenna grimaced and grunted, but her foot was too long. Their mother even suggested cutting off a toe. Dawn, unimpressed. "Are there any other maidens in this house?" the prince asked, his hope dwindling. "No, Your Highness." The stepmother lied quickly. "Only our servant girl, but she's nothing but Hussein." One of the guards who had been searching the compound spotted Amara in the garden. "What about her, eh?" Kaid out. The stepmother tried to protest, but Prince Aid insisted. Amara was brought forward, still in her simple clothes. She shyly sat down and slipped her foot into the golden sandal. It was a perfect fit. Zola, Kenna, and their mother gasped in disbelief and horror. At that moment, The old woman, the villager, appeared. She smiled and placed her hand on Amara. In a flash of light, Amara's rags transformed back into the magnificent gown from the festival. Everyone finally understood. Prince Ace broke into a joyous smile. He knelt before Amara, taking her hand. "You," he sighed softly, "will you be my wife, a palace with your light and kindness?" With tears of joy in her eyes, Amara said yes. Her stepmother and stepsisters, humbled and shamed, could only watch as the prince lifted Amara onto his horse, as they rode towards the palace to begin their new life. Amara looked back at the village, not with sadness, but with the quiet strength of someone who had turned her ashes into a crown. A student, a reminder that all that true worth lies not in wealth or beauty, but in a resilient heart. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing tales. See you next time. In a small village nestled among rolling hills lived a young girl, an orphan. She was raised by a distant aunt who treated her more like a servant than a niece. Amara's days long and filled with hard work. From sunrise to sunset, her clothes were patched, her hands were calloused, and her only friends were the birds she sang to in the fields. In the same village lived 3 sisters, the daughters of the wealthiest merchant. They were known for their beautiful clothes, their glittering jewelry, their cruel laughter. Whenever they saw Ara, they would point and mock her. "Look at the field mouse," one would sneer. "Her dress is made of rags." Another would cackle. "She probably sleeps in the dirt with the goats," a bird would add, and they would all laugh, their voices wind. Amara never said a word back. She would simply lower her head, her heart aching with sad, and hurry away. At night, she would look up at the moon and stars, tears silently tracing paths on her dirty cheeks, and she would whisper a prayer for kindness, for it when she wouldn't feel so alone. One day, a royal messenger arrived in the village. A grand announcement. The prince, a kind, wise man, was seeking a bride, interested in wealth but in a woman with a pure heart and spirit. To find her, he would host a great festival at the royal palace. Every maid in the kingdom was invited to attend and present the prince with a gift that truly represented who she was. The news sent a wave of excitement through the village. The 3 rich sisters were ecstatic. They spent a fortune on dresses, gold jewelry, and rare perfumes. For their gifts, commissioned the finest craftsmen. One had a necklace of dazzling diamonds, another a crown of woven gold, and the third a statuette carved from pure ivory. The prince surely choose one of us. They both did to anyone who would listen. Amara heard the news while scrubbing the floors. Her heart fluttered with a tiny spark of hope. She, too, dreamed of going to the festival, but her aunt quickly crushed. "You? Go to the palace?" she scoffed. What could you possibly offer the prince? A hat of dirt. The 3 sisters overheard and burst into their usual cruel laughter. Heartbroken, Amara ran to her favorite spot by the river, a quiet place shaded by an old baobab tree. She sat and cried, her tears mingling with the flowing water. As she wept, she noticed a tiny, injured bird at her feet. Its wing twisted at an odd angle. Forgetting her own sorrow, Ara gently scooped up the little creature. She softly up its wing and fed it a few berries she had saved. She soft, soothingly, sang to herself when she was sad. 4 days cared for the bird, sharing her meals and protecting it from harm. The bird healed. As Amara was about to release it, the bird suddenly transformed before her very eyes into a beautiful woman with a shimmering gown and a kind, radiant smile. "I am a spirit of the forest," she said. "I have seen your pure heart and your unending kindness, Amara." The spirit waved her hand, and Amara's rags turned into a stunning dress woven from moonlight and river reeds, adorned with dewdrops that sparkled like diamonds. On her feet were sandals moss. "For your gift," the spirit said, placing a single, perfect wildflower in Amara's hand. "This flower only blooms where true kindness is found. It is a reflection of your own beautiful soul." The grateful smile, the spirit vanished, leaving Amara in stunned silence. Hesitantly, Amara made her the path. The guard, seeing her simple elegance and quiet grace, let her pass without question. She entered the grand hall, which was filled with maidens in lavish gowns, all clamoring for the prince's attention. The rich sisters were there, preening and showing off their extravagant gifts. When they saw Amara, their jaws dropped. They sneered. "What is she doing here? And what is that weed she's holding?" One by one, the maidens presented their gifts to the prince. He accepted diamonds, the gold, and the ivory with polite courtesy, but his eyes remained thoughtful. Finally, it was Amara's turn. She walked forward, heart pounding. The crowd whispered, laughing at her simple offering. The three sisters smirked, certain of her humiliation. Amara knelt before the prince and presented the single wild flower. "Your Highness," she said, her voice soft but clear. "I have no gold or jewels. This is all I have to offer. It is a simple flower, but it grew from an act of kindness." The prince took the flower. As his fingers touched it, the blossom